But when I was 7 years old, my parents, who lived in the Midwest, and that's where I was raised, took a family trip to some of the showcases of the American West. This would be back in 1964. We went to Glacier Park, Crater Lake, Lake Tahoe, and Rocky Mountain National, among other places all in between, some of the Badlands of the Dakotas. And as a kid, seeing that for the first time, I was just thunderstruck that there was a country like that. Of course, I'd never seen it before. I'd seen pictures, but I'd never actually knew what it was like to breathe that air and see that kind of atmosphere and those soaring heights of the mountains, particularly in Glacier. So I was fascinated by the time I was 7 years old with the American West. And I had always been drawing, and I'd always been interested in art. And somewhere in my late teens, my interest in the West and my interest in art united. And I ended up in 1977 finishing up my college career at Northern Arizona University. But that brought me into contact with people who were connected on ranches, particularly the Babbitt Ranch. And I just got into a deeper interest of guys working on the ranches, and was fortunate enough to marry a woman who allowed me to pursue my career, or at least pursue the dream of a career early on. And Peggy supported me. We got married, and she worked and I worked, and we sort of grew together. We were kids, and God brought all of this about in his timing. And I must say things went well right from the get-go, but without the support of Peggy, none of this would have ever happened. The show at the Desert Caballeros Museum will be something of a chronicle of the 40 years of my career. Now, I don't think we have anything that is earlier than about 1985, but I became a full-time artist about 1982, so we're pretty close. And the earliest things from my career that will be in the show are 3 drawings. That's how I began my career. I didn't just dive right into painting. I always wanted to do that, but I wanted to learn something about rendering value. So I largely made my living very early on with drawings in pencil, and there are 3 of those here in the show. The bulk of the show, the main room, is oil paintings dating from, I think, earliest 1995 to just last week. So it covers about, 26 years or so. They are largely major works depicting ranch life. And that's how I've made the bulk of my living during my career. So they'll be sized all the way down from about 1216 all the way up to 42 square, 3654. So there'll be several major paintings in there. Some of these paintings in the main room will also be accompanied by their preliminary studies that I worked up in very small format first to see if I thought I had enough information to complete the painting, and to see if I liked what I saw on canvas and was worth exploring in a larger format. So I think we may have 9 or 10 of those in the show that are hanging next to the final painting, the small studies. A great deal of this show, or at least probably a solid half of the numerical number, are going to be things that people generally don't see from me. They will be studies that I've painted from life, on location. There'll be several horse studies. There'll be some mounted figures. There'll be some cow studies. All of those will have been done directly from life in the field. I've always felt that it was extremely important to get a working knowledge of painting the animal from life. It teaches you how to edit. It teaches you speed skills. It teaches you how to see, interpret, and portray accurately in a short amount of time. You only have about 2 hours to do all of those. So all of these studies, I think they range from about 8x10 to 2016, were painted from life. And so there'll be a number of those there, mounted figures, as well as just the horse and cattle from life. There'll also be some plein air landscapes done on the spot. That's, of course, what plein air means. And there's probably maybe 10 or 12 of those. And there'll also be some studio landscapes. Sometimes I just like to break up the Westerns without having to go outside if the weather's bad or something like that, and do something maybe on a little bit larger scale. So there's 3 or 4 of those as well. One of the different things about this show that I really wanted to do, I wanted to show what an artist is working on behind the scenes that the public generally never sees. And I have, since the beginning that I started painting oil paintings, or maybe it was a few years into that, I saw the value of painting small studies of my ideas in small but proportional sizes to the large idea that I had. I wanted to see if my idea would work on canvas. I don't exclusively work from photographs. I work from a number of things, and I can't tell if my idea is going to be able to gel until I put it all together and then I see it in color form. So doing these small little studies is very, very helpful. And we have a number of them in this show, maybe as many as 30 or 40. I haven't really counted. And they're all unframed. They're all unvarnished. And they are basically 2, 3, 4 hour studies that I put together to see if my idea would translate into a larger painting. 90% of them here were larger oils. We didn't gather those oils. They're all over the country. And there's frankly just too many of them. I have 200 or 300 of these, but I selected about 30 or 40 to bring to this show. And they will be, I think, displayed on one wall. The major thing that I try to convey in the paintings is a sense of mood. I'm not so much interested in documenting the American West. I'm trying to have the viewer feel what I feel about the American West, its vastness, and more than anything else, probably, its beauty. For me, the beauty of the West, the beauty of the atmospheric perspective that is here, the artful patterns that are in almost any scene that you look at, discerning those and exploiting them a little bit in painting is something that moves me and interests me. But detail, not so much. I want to get the feeling of the country and the power of the figure without having to noodle it to death and make it look like a photograph. That's never been my aim. My aim has always been to make these more complex studio paintings look as if they were done by someone who has been there and been outside and seen natural light, knows how to distinguish natural light from those that you find in computer or photographic images because he's been outside painting it from life, so he knows the difference. And then someone who is interested in conveying how beautiful this country, particularly the American West, is. I've always wanted to evoke a feeling in the viewer, and I've had, fortunately, a lot of people come up to me and say, I feel like I'm there, or that's someplace I wish I could be. I wish I was in that picture, or I've been there, I've seen that. So those are the things that really move me to paint. And I'm just trying to also pay homage to my mentors that poured into me. Jim Reynolds, Ned Jacob, Michael Lynch, Bill Reese, who I feel an obligation to carry on traditional painting and try to do these things in as much an old world manner as I can and not depend so much on artificial means. I think the bottom line with my painting is I'm passionate about this, and I think hopefully it comes through in the work, the passion that I feel for the American West, because having little or no formal training, I had to mine my own data. I had to go to the people that I respected and then listen to them and absorb what I could. And this is very difficult stuff to do. This is hard work. But it was a labor of love because I wanted to do it. And I was passionate about the subject. And I think that you have to be to portray it well. Also here, there'll be one painting that will be in Legacy Show called The Painted West in March of 2022, just in about 2-3 months. So that one is here as well. I wanted that one to be able to get a preview at this show. So I hope you enjoy it. It was fun to put together. Thanks so much to the museum for honoring me with this show. It was a terrific experience. Marianne Igna, Dan Finley, and Betty Watts were just terrific. Eric Peterson as well. And a lot of people contributed their paintings. I want to thank all the collectors that generously lent us their work. And so I hope you enjoy the show, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there.